From benders to breakdowns, these are NFL players who lost millions. John Elway might be a legendary quarterback, but he had some serious financial mishaps. Back in 2010, he fell for a sneaky Ponzi scheme masterminded by a guy named Sean Mueller. This so-called hedge fund ended up swiping $15 million from Elway and his business partner. On top of that, in 2016, Elway had a golden opportunity. He could have snagged a 10% slice of the Denver Broncos for just $15 million, giving the team a $150 million valuation. Not too shabby, right? And he could have bought another 10% by passing up his $21 million salary. Though it might sound like a lot of money, the reality is only John Elway was offered ownership stakes in the team at this price. But Elway turned down the deal. Little did he know that the stake would have been worth a mind-boggling $388 million had he held on to it today. Now that's got to hurt more than getting sacked by Lawrence Taylor. Speaking of Lawrence Taylor, the man was an absolute menace for the New York Giants. In fact, Lawrence Taylor was one of the greatest defensive players of all time. However, he faced a substantial financial downfall due to his involvement in drug-related issues and financial mismanagement. Whoopsies! After being arrested on a drug charge in 1998, Taylor went bankrupt. During his peak, Taylor's drug addiction led to crazy spending. Apparently, this guy was spending thousands of dollars a day on drugs and prostitutes. Turns out he was taking bigger hits in his off time than he was on the football field. But it doesn't stop there. He also started a $10 million company that failed. In 2000, Taylor received a 5-year federal probation sentence for filing false tax returns and evading taxes. When it was all said and done, Taylor's bad habits lost him millions of dollars. Taylor was into some nasty stuff, and who knows exactly what T.O. was into, but it sure got him into a crappy financial hole. Despite earning a whopping $80 million during his NFL career, playing for teams like the Cowboys, Eagles, and 49ers, Terrell Owens still managed to find himself in troubled waters financially. In 2012, Owens revealed that he had squandered almost all of his NFL earnings.
It's on a standstill, so I have no income at this point, none.
Risky investments, hefty child support payments to the 4 mothers of his children, and the collapsing real estate market took a toll on his bank account. Adding to the mix, Owens collected a cool $150,000 in fines for his excessive touchdown celebrations, including his infamous star pose on the Dallas Cowboys turf not once but twice. I hope he got his thrills, cause it doesn't sound like he's going to be doing as much celebrating in retirement. And up next is a running back who got busted for doing the dirty with an intern. Tiki Barber found himself in financial turmoil after a series of unfortunate events. Reports surfaced that he went broke following his controversial decision to leave his pregnant wife of 11 years for an intern at NBC Sports. And his bosses weren't impressed with his decision-making, to say the least. The controversy triggered a hidden morality clause, leading to his dismissal from the TV network in 2010. NBC also terminated his lucrative $300,000 per year contract. Yikes! Now that's just shameful. But before we keep going, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Or we'll leave you too. And then you'll have to find out how these NFL players like Charlie Batch lost millions of dollars without our help. Charlie Batch faced a financial crisis that nearly cost him his cherished Super Bowl rings. In 2011, overwhelmed by business debts, Batch was forced to file for bankruptcy. Despite earning around $935,000 per year from his NFL contract, Batch found himself listing a staggering $8.3 million in debt during the bankruptcy filing. His real estate ventures went sour, leading to a default on a $1.15 million mortgage with Dollar Bank. Additionally, 25 properties held by Batch Development Company, Inc. fell into receivership. But he didn't let his financial losses take him down. Today, he serves as senior captain for the trust powered by the NFLPA and works as a transition consultant for the NFLPA, utilizing his experiences to assist fellow athletes in their own post-career journeys. Charlie Batch has learned from his mistakes, but up next is a player who takes no responsibility for his actions. In fact, he publicly said that he wanted to kill his financial advisor after he lost millions. Despite signing a lucrative 8-year, $50.5 million contract with the NFL in 2004, Clinton Portis found himself filing for bankruptcy just 6 years after retiring. At the time of his bankruptcy filing in 2015, Portis had substantial debts. He owed $412,000 in domestic support to 4 women, $390,000 to the IRS, $287,000 to the MGM Grand Casino, $170,000 to the Borgata, and even $500,000 to his own mother. Dude gambled away all his mom's money after making $50 million. That's got to be a new low. Then in 2019, Portis and several other former NFL stars faced charges related to healthcare fraud. And if that wasn't enough, Portis faced additional charges for wire fraud the following year, further complicating his financial troubles. Losing all your money at the casino is embarrassing, but losing all your money on expensive dinners? How do you even do that? Vince Young experienced a significant financial downfall after signing a $26 million contract. 7 years later, he had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Young admitted that he never paid much attention to his finances during his NFL career, relying on a financial advisor and his uncle as his manager. Unfortunately, his extravagant spending habits, such as dropping $15,000 on a single trip to the Cheesecake Factory, coupled with mounting debts, drained away his multi-million-dollar income. Damn! That must have been a lot of cheesecake. He also once booked all the tickets on a flight just so he didn't have to put up with other passengers. I mean, that takes antisocial to a whole other level. And if you think plane tickets is an excessive means to spending money, just wait till you hear what this next NFL player was spending his money on. Warren Sapp faced a significant financial downfall resulting in his 2012 bankruptcy filing. His debts involved a range of creditors from the IRS to the mothers of his children. One failed business venture aimed at constructing affordable housing in St. Lucie County led to Sapp's financial situation. He also had crazy spending habits. The man was owner of 240 pairs of Nike sneakers as well as a rug made out of real lion skin. Is that even legal? His total debts at the time were worth $6.7 million. Despite earning over $76 million from his 3 NFL contracts, Sapp was left empty-handed. Lion skin? I'd love to see what that feels like. But what I wouldn't love to do is start a business with the NFL player up next. Rocket Ismail, known for his incredible speed on the field, unfortunately holds the distinction of failing businesses about as fast as he scored his touchdowns. In fact, this guy is known as one of the worst businessmen of any athlete ever. Everything he touches turns to trash. Since retiring as a wide receiver, Ismail invested in various ventures, including a prepaid phone card dispenser, a rock and roll themed restaurant, a calligraphy business, and a line of cosmetic surgery supplies, among others. Regrettably, all of these ventures ended in failure, and Rocket lost millions along the way. He may have failed, but at least Rocket was attempting to run legitimate businesses, unlike our player at number 9. Travis Henry had a tumultuous career both on and off the field. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills in 2001, Henry showcased his talent as one of the team's top running backs. However, he lost his starting position in 2004 and demanded a trade, leading him to join the Tennessee Titans. Then, the Titans released him just days before a scheduled $8.3 million roster bonus. But that didn't do him in. He still signed with the Denver Broncos as a free agent for a $22.5 million deal. But after failing a bunch of drug tests, the Broncos released him. Henry wasn't just using drugs though, he was also selling them. And when he got caught, he was arrested and put in prison. But his financial troubles continued. With 11 children from 10 different women, Henry's child support payments were estimated to be around $170,000 per year. Has this dude ever heard of a condom? Either way, he lost millions. Clearly, earning huge sums of money as a running back doesn't mean you're set for life, just as this former New Orleans star. In 2005, Deuce McAllister became the NFL's second highest paid running back with a 7-year deal worth $50.1 million. Cha-ching! However, just 4 years later, McAllister had to file for bankruptcy protection due to the failure of a car dealership venture. Nissan sued him for over $1.5 million, citing defaulted payments and exceeding credit limits dating back to 2000. In response, McAllister filed a counterclaim alleging that Nissan withheld crucial information about the profitability of the business and took advantage of his lack of experience in the motor vehicle sales industry. Basically, he claimed that it was Nissan's fault that he had no clue what the hell he was doing. Eventually, McAllister's home in Luling was taken away by Whitney National Bank, which claimed he owed them $1.8 million on the mortgage. I guess they call him Deuce because his business failed and he lost his house. That's rough. But up next, we have a record-breaking quarterback that thought he was getting into the next big thing. Instead, he became the next NFL player to lose millions of dollars. In 2012, Digital Domain Media Group, known for their special effects work in creating a hologram of Tupac Shakur, went bankrupt. Dan Marino lost almost all of his $14.5 million that he had invested into the company. Marino's stake diminished to a mere $867,088, resulting in a loss of $13.6 million, proving that some of the all-time great athletes can be lousy in business. At number 6, we have a player who didn't even attempt to get into business. Despite earning over $19.17 million throughout his football career, Andre Rison fell victim to two notorious money-draining culprits: indulgence and extravagance. In a 2012 ESPN documentary, Rison revealed that he squandered at least $1 million on jewelry alone. He also spent vast sums on luxury cars in an attempt to keep up with his teammates' extravagant lifestyles. Rison was out buying flashy things and buying bottles at nightclubs to try to show off to his teammates. But in the end, he wasn't left looking so fly. He also, like so many others, owed huge sums of money in child support. And before he knew it, he had nothing left to show for his successful NFL career. Players from all eras have fallen victim to bankruptcy, and some have even dragged their families down with them. Despite his Hall of Fame career, Johnny Unitas faced struggles in the business world. Unitas ventured into various business ventures that ultimately failed. A restaurant, a freight company, a bowling alley chain, and a Florida real estate venture all met unfortunate ends. However, the most devastating blow came from Unitas' deal to purchase an electronics company in 1984 for $3.5 million. To finance the purchase, he borrowed $5.3 million, personally guaranteeing the loans alongside his wife, Sandra. When the company went bankrupt, the Unitas couple was left responsible for the debt, so Unitas declared bankruptcy in 1991. By the time Johnny Unitas had to file for bankruptcy, he was too old to take another go at the NFL. But up next is a quarterback who filed for bankruptcy before the end of his playing career. Despite earning an estimated $50 million throughout his career, Mark Brunell faced financial difficulties. Shortly before concluding his career, Brunell declared bankruptcy in 2011 as his assets amounted to only $5.5 million while owing a staggering $24.8 million. He invested in extravagant mega mansions, including a $9.5 million home, but suffered substantial losses in failed real estate ventures, losing approximately $11 million when the housing bubble burst along with his heart. Brunell also lost $9 million in a failed Whataburger franchise. Things got so bad for Brunell that he started selling medical devices as a side gig while he was still playing in the NFL. I don't know what kind of medical devices he was selling, but maybe Bernie Kosar needed them because he got himself into so much debt he could have had a heart attack. When Bernie Kosar filed for bankruptcy, his financial challenges became public. At the time of his bankruptcy filing, Kozar had assets ranging from $1 million to $10 million. However, his liabilities amounted to as much as $50 million. Yeesh! He faced numerous financial setbacks, including owing $1.5 million in unsecured loans to the Browns, losing $9 million in ill-advised real estate investments, forfeiting $3 million in a divorce settlement, and owning a failed steakhouse business. And if you think that's bad, at number 2 we have a real tough guy who lost all his money and then moved back home with his mommy. Chris McAllister signed a $55 million contract in 2004. However, in 2011, court records revealed that he had been unemployed since 2009, living with his parents and relying on them for basic living expenses. The records emerged from child support hearings where McAllister sought relief from his $11,000 a month paternity obligations. The exact extent of his financial losses and where the money went remains unclear, but the situation reflected a stark contrast to his previous multimillionaire athlete status and the bad boy image he once portrayed. I mean, the dude was still living with his mom. His parents must have been pissed. Last but not least, we have a former NFL star that got himself into so much debt that we're wondering what the hell he could have been thinking. Throughout his 13-year NFL career, which included numerous Pro Bowl appearances and All-Pro honors, Dermontti Dawson earned a hell of a lot of cash. However, Dawson invested millions in real estate ventures alongside multiple partners, but he lacked controlling interest in these investments. Throughout his 13-year NFL career, which included numerous Pro Bowl appearances and All-Pro honors, the devastating impact of the 2008 housing crash hit him hard, leading to several legal judgments against him, including one for $3.4 million and another for $1.7 million. In 2010, Dawson filed for bankruptcy, revealing debts of nearly $70 million, while having assets valued at only $1.42 million. Now that's a hell of a lot of debt. There you have it. Those were NFL players who lost millions. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a good old thumbs up and subscribe. Also, check out the video currently on your screen if you want to keep on watching more of our NFL-related content.